The Nephilim sightings are going to start soon.
Consciousness has been enslaved.
Your consciousness does not need your physical body to survive.
It's the thing that's necessary. It has to be there. It's the coding that projects this world we currently live in.
I said, I want you to read the Bible.
We got reptilians on just outside of our frequency zone.
Six-dimensional beings, the ancient builder race.
Ideas are the highest form of intelligence, and that leads you to truth and clarity.
The Nephilim sightings are going to start soon.
Conspiracy chill.
If obviously aliens, our galaxy is insanely huge. We're just one planet.
They would have needed a minimum of 6 feet of lead shielding in order to get through the 25,000-mile thick Van Allen radiation belt.
This is real. They really did fake the moon landing.
The world is infinitely older than that. And I mean the world with human beings in it.
Skull and Bones is like one of the villains in the Legion of Doom.
I said, I want you to read the Bible.
The biblical flood, the Tartaria mud flood.
Conspiracy and chill.
The Nephilim sightings are going to start soon.
The bull god ball.
I said, I want you to read the Bible. There's magnets in the basketballs.
There was a political party, a third party called the Anti-Masonic Party at a point in the United States.
The Global Pandemic Treaty.
Conspiracy and Chill podcast.
We've got a veteran of the MMA scene and podcast scene, a true deep diver, Mike Davis. Great to finally have you on here.
Yeah, welcome.
That's correct, man. I appreciate it, guys. I actually took a little dive into your podcast, and I enjoy it, man. Like, I really like the angle that you guys are going. It's different than your standard conspiracy podcasts. You guys are still finding your rhythm, but no, I really enjoy it. I do listen. I'd love to review. I 100% listen to your podcast.
We greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, bro.
Yeah. So where do you guys upload to? Are you guys like a Libsyn group, or do you guys do like Buzzsprout?
So many years ago when I was first in the podcast game, I used Libsyn. So I was strongly leaning towards Libsyn, but then when I kind of did some research on it, it looked like Buzzsprout was going to be the way to go. So I went with Buzzsprout.
That's me too. Yeah, me too. In fact, on Buzzsprout, the Lights Out podcast is, the show that I do. It's a MMA history, ADCC MMA history podcast, and we're coming up on about 100,000 downloads. We're just over 200 episodes there.
Wow.
And I think we're at like almost 500,000 on YouTube. Maybe 3/4, maybe like 350, 400,000. But it's long form. It's like you guys, long form podcasts,
How long have you been doing it?
So Chris Lytle and I have always been really good, not really good friends. We've always been kind of like students of the game in regards to history and getting real nerdy. And Chris called me about 2.5 years ago saying, "Hey man, we ought to do a podcast. Let's kind of cut our chops doing recaps like everybody else, and then let's just get into the history stuff." So we've been doing deep dives now, about 2 years, about a solid 2 years. We're at 215 episodes, 216 episodes. And I say we really didn't find our groove until about the 50th or 60th episode.
Okay. One thing that I don't think that fans, listeners truly appreciate or understand about not necessarily our podcast, but a podcast like yours. How long does it take you to research for one episode?
All right, so that's the key right there. So we over prepare. And a little background on myself: I worked at the Cook County Sheriff's Department for 15 years. I currently do a little side gig for security to cover my insurance, and I work for Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. So my side gigs for security, dude, I get paid right now to research. I just find a spot, no one's ever going to bother me, and I do just copious amounts of research. And I got a wife and family. It gets me out of the house, not distracted, but I don't have favorite TV shows. I don't watch movies. I don't do any of that. All I do is research. So per guest, 14 to 16 hours, and we release one episode a week. I used to do 2 episodes a week, but it was just way too hard.
You got a family, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, it was it's literally 14 to 16 hours, one human being, and it's message board, YouTube comments, phone calls to contacts, people that may have been there that I've I got a pretty good Rolodex, and it's just like calling those people and going through it and taking their time. So it's like I would kind of put it like a stalker ex-girlfriend looking at like where somebody that she truly loved at one point in her life, where he's at today, and she's got like unfettered access to his social media. So that's where I'm at, dude. I'm like a psychotic ex-chick, dude, on our research.
Next level deep dive.
Oh, dude. Yeah. I mean, but you know what? This is what happens though. We get a guest, in essence, it's one guest per episode. But what takes place is you hit them with these little tiny details, and then all of a sudden, bigger things come out to where like they would never have admitted it before. Like, and because of my involvement in mixed martial arts, it gives me like a peek kind of behind the curtain. So where I kind of know the answer before they give it, except you just kind of lead in with it. Like Mark Coleman, I obviously, he had his incident where he rescued his parents. But if you listen to our Pride Grand Prix Mark Coleman episode, we start off John Jones. There's probably only a dozen interviews that exist with Mark Coleman. Half of them are mine. We start out with John Jones. Him and John Jones almost fought at UFC 100, and Mark tagged him up at the open workouts at the UFC. So we started with that, got him cool, calm, get him rolling. Talked about his entry into Pride. Yep, I got paid $75,000 to drop a fight, from the Yakuza. Like, he had never admitted that before in any episode ever. Semi Schultz killed a sparring partner.
Whoa.
We get him kind of rolling. Hey, brother, what about this guy? And then we get, I'd say about 35% of our guests usually end up crying.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's a police interview. It's kind of like, hey, man, flatter them with what you know, kind of lead them in. They do 70% of the talking, you do 30% of the talking, and then you just kind of lead them to where you want. And then when they're comfortable or talking, you hit them with the questions that they may or may not answer, and it's up to them whether they want to do it or not. And, it's something I did for 15 years in law enforcement. And it's just all I'm doing is I'm applying it to mixed martial arts and what takes place behind the scenes.
That's a brilliant idea to apply what you were doing with the sheriff's department. That is such an amazing idea to take that and apply it to, and it shows, man. It shows because you guys are able to, the little things that you hit your guests with. If you didn't put the work in researching it, you wouldn't be able to hit them with those little things,
No. Well, here, you guys are conspiracy guys. All of us are. We're all conspiracy guys. But we're all kind of like subject matter experts on certain things within it. And like the issue that I had was the people doing these interviews didn't know what they were talking about. Like I'd be yelling, "What about this?" And it would never get asked. And it was never going to get asked unless like Chris Lytle and myself and a couple of the guys that help out. We got a guy that does timestamps, Andrew Mendoza. He's out in California. Joey Venti sits in for, I think he sat in for Lytle every episode this year because Lytle's, doing BKFC like 6 days a week. So, it's just putting stuff out there. What about yourselves? What gave you guys your want to start this?
Mike was podcasting like 6 years ago or so. He had a show that I was a guest on a couple of times, and that's how we met and became friends. And the first one was someone was looking for, or he was posting looking for someone who wanted to talk about the reptilians conspiracy. And that was one of my main ones for the longest time. And I was like, yep, let's go. All right. And then, we became friends since then. And I know the show lasted for a while, had a lot of really good episodes, probably went on it like 3 or 4 times. And then we stayed friends ever since. And probably about not too long ago, 6-7 months ago, we're reconnected. Like Mike hit me with the idea too, like, yeah, let's do it, let's make another one, what do you think?
All right. But Mike, how did you guys come up with this angle for Conspiracies?
Well, the first thing was like, once we were like, yeah, let's do it, it was like in, I want to say October of last year, and I didn't want to rush it, so I was like, all right, let's get like 3 recorded once we figure everything out, and we'll release it all on like the Saturday, December 23rd. So I had that the months between October and December 23rd to kind of figure, the logo, what we're going to go with Libsyn, to all the little details, But the first thing was to figure out the name. So once we had Conspiracy and Chill, we're like, all right, cool. We can talk about the conspiracy stuff, but now we also have an and chill stuff. So we don't have to like typecast ourselves into one category, so that opens it up.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
And dude, if you're not into conspiracies or any conspiracies or not willing to talk about it, like, do you really have much in common with them? Like, really? Like, do you really want to hang out with somebody that doesn't have a couple conspiracies that they're like way into? Like, I wouldn't.
I think people that think they don't believe in conspiracies, they just unwittingly do. They just don't realize they do.
That's what I was gonna say. We got to take influence from you, Mike, and find a way to dig these out of people. And as you've heard, we always try to do our best, but we don't have the background in interrogation. But gonna have.
Well, I know Mike is sat across the table from somebody interrogating. I listened to that on a podcast. Podcast.
Yeah, but not on the right side.
no, but you know what I mean. And Mike, you've gone through the system. You've seen it. It's not pretty. And the issue with it is like once you're in it, it's so friggin' hard to get out of it. And I had a fighter that fought for me. He got killed in a drive-by, I want to say 6-7 years ago. And I remember like a couple of my CPD buddies were calling up, "Hey man, saw you on the news. Are you really putting your name on that gangbanging shitbag?" And I'm like, man, I look him up, I go to work, I look him up, he's already dead. And I'm like, this guy hasn't committed a crime in 10 years. Like, at what point does it fall off? You know what I mean? Like, when do you like stop calling somebody that for something that they may have done? Like at some point, everybody, including society's got to get beyond a stupid error that somebody made in their life.
I was just talking about this with my wife earlier today. I was like, it's like not just me, but yeah, felons are, like you said, I haven't even had a speeding ticket in 10 years. And I have a license. It's not like I don't drive. I drive every day. But I've been a model citizen. But still, that shit will still come back to haunt me. And it will forever,
Well, I tell you where your issue is. And it's something that I've seen, like, in more than one person. I think when you enter into a situation, I think you just need to tell them flat out, dude, I got a friggin' felony. It is what it is. Caught it X amount of years ago. I'm never going to lose it. So when those job opportunities or promotions come up, they're already prepared for it. It's not something that surprises them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got no problem talking about it.
No. I mean, it is what it is, I mean, I can't change it. Shit,
Some would say it even helped you be who you are today.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I think that a little bit of jail time would do everybody good. I'm not talking about like going to prison and doing hard time, but maybe everybody would benefit from like 30 days in the county, because when you're stripped of all your privileges, man, you really appreciate the small shit when you get out.
Yeah, and it's like kind of like it's a wake up call. Like, man, it's we're all involved in a mixed martial arts community, which constantly gives back to the ADHD kids, maybe not so good in school. And it's like, well, here, you're at a fork in the road, man. Let's just take a peek, let's just take a look at what's on the other side. And that, you're right. I agree with that. Mandatory military or a little bit of jail time, not a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not a bad thing in terms of learning. Yeah, no, that's for sure. That's for sure.
I'm all for mandatory fist fight too. Every match, take a punch, take a beating in his life.
Tom, I think we can all agree. One of the most incredible things in life is getting punched in the face the first time. You learn so much. Don't fuck with the linebacker. Don't fuck with the wrestler. It's like it's such a good learning experience. And to take that away, like in this kind of like nerf-coded world, to take that away, that incredible experience, to me, that's criminal.
Yeah, I mean, even just a couple generations, not even generations, just like when I was young and I'd be, you know, at the skate park or whatever, hanging out. I'd be terrified of the older kids. Like I wouldn't want to fucking mouth off to anyone because I'm like, dude, this guy's gonna beat the shit out of me. Like there's no adults around, whatever. And I feel like that fear is completely gone from kids nowadays and just talking crap.
Yeah, it like, you know, the word influencer, it's like, no, you're just an asshole holding a phone. You're not an influencer. You're a fucking asshole holding a phone. And like, you know, like I've got a daughter, like I got a wife, and it's like one of these little fucking jerk offs. Like you know, you kind of go through like those little, you know, war scenes in your head, you know, which will never come true. It's a complete total waste of fucking time thinking about it. I'm just like, man, if some fucking jerk off did it to like my daughter when I was there, I'd fuck him up, you know, like. Yeah, the whole influencer thing I'll never understand, and it seems to be kind of like more and more popular, which, you know, just tells me I'm finally old, you know.
Yeah, I'm that guy too now. It's fucking crazy how it flips, you know. Just one day you're the fucking old guy, one day it's like, god damn, I don't feel like I'm the old guy, but I'm the old guy.
Yeah.
Kids are so different today, dude. It blows me away. I have 2 kids. It blows me away how different, like, when we were coming up as to oppose it is now. And it's not even been that long. Yeah, it's been, you know, what, 25, 30 years. But that's not that long. And things have completely changed, man. It's scary.
Yeah. And you know, with like autism and stuff like that, they say, oh, we just kind of detect it faster. It's not the food or anything we put in the kids at a very young age. We swear it's just, you know, that's just a coincidence that we're not going to look into with no studies. Okay. But, you know, and it's like, you know, the like when I was growing up, we had something called like leave no girl behind, because what was proposed was that girls were being left behind in the educational system. And there's a documentary out about that movement, and they said, well, not only did they do a 180 on it, but they turned the car and ship around so hard that now all the boys are left behind and they're the ones struggling, and it's only accelerating to benefit the girls. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I get in the weeds with some of this stuff, and it's just like, it's like a calculated destruction of society. It's not like it's, oh God, look what just happened. It was just a freak accident. It was like, no. You imploded floor by floor until you got to the basement. That's what you did.
Mm-hmm. You said it yourself.
It starts with like monetization of a single family household. Like, no, you added a value to take a parent out of the household. Like if you added a value to keep parents in a household, like maybe they don't like each other, maybe they're always arguing, but at least the kids got someone there to talk to. You know, my daughter's first male teacher was when she was in 8th grade. That's not right.
Maybe that's why so many dudes are saying they're women now, so they're not left behind. You know.
I mean, yeah, we've flipped it to include everybody at this point. Like the feminists should be the first ones jumping out to be like, what the fuck? Now men are even taking over women's spaces and women's sports and women opportunities. It's hilarious. And right before we got you on here, Mike and I were talking about how just a long time ago, even as far the 60s, or if you go all the way back to like the vintage old time wrestlers or fighters and stuff, like how much more just like testosterone and manly like they were before fake food or the stuff that they're giving us, and the freaking chemtrails or whatever in the water and constant exposure to blue light. And it's just a drastic difference.
Yeah. And like, you know, once you get on like that conspiracy, like that fucking never ending trapdoor, you start listening to lyrics of music a little bit more close too. And you're like, wait a minute, they're in on it.
In the combat sports realm too, I'm sure you've seen the Ryan Garcia stuff.
You know, it's like they kind of present things like in a joking manner, but it's like their way, like from what I gather, they have to tell you in order to kind of not suffer the consequences for like the after effects of their actions. So they tell you in like a joking manner, or it's just kind of like a crazy manner to where you're like, yeah, I don't believe that. And I think that kind of falls into that category. You know, I don't know. Like if you don't think black magic rules this world, you know, I know you guys are Sam Tripoli fans, much like myself. I've heard some of the things you said, but, you know, and on your other podcast, but like highest realm of hell, lowest rung of heaven, probably where we're at, you know, and like, because like I started thinking that way, Instead of just being devastated by something that didn't go my way or upset or angry, now I just look at, no. This is a test. This is a test, dude. I'm not fucking going off the rails on this. This is a freaking test. Fuck that. You know, like, no. You know, keep pushing forward. It is what it is. Yeah, I don't know.
That mentality is definitely helpful and almost necessary after a point where you've gotten so deep with this type of stuff, because it gets so dark and fucking gloomy. But
especially politics. Like, politics is pure theater. It's pure theater. Like, it's actual theater. It's actual theater. You know, and people are talking like, well, you know, there's this mask technology. Like, if I know there's mask technology and you know there's mask technology, and clearly it's being used oftentimes on TV, so that means like the outraged politicians that are supposed to be on the other side, that are, you know, so angry and mean and you know, that means they know too, but they're not saying it.
They're playing,
you know, so yeah, they're all in on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking pro wrestling, dude. It's
100%.
like all these fucking Trump people. He's on the same side as them. He never got rid of Fauci. Gave Gates like $9 billion. He's in on it. He's one of them.
Can I ask you, what do you think about Kennedy?
Let's start with Elon Musk.
Okay.
That you just said okay. That much in outer space would kill you. Like, the atmosphere in outer space is so volatile, a tiny little like inkling of air in your lungs from up there, or you know, whatever matter is up there, you die. We haven't been to the moon ever. And now he's going to go, hey guys, we're going to go to Mars, and you're going to give me more government money, you know, for my company than anyone else in the entire world. And you know, NASA that gets $51 million a day, I'm so much smarter than with my company that they're going to have to outsource their needs to me. It's a fucking scam. Like, Mars is over 1 million miles away. We haven't even been to the moon. Like, really? Like, that's the guy you're backing? Oh, he's just so good with free speech. Man, are you fucking retarded? Sorry.
No, that's awesome.
That's where I'm at, Mike. Sorry, dude. I'm, you know, logic. Do you guys really think Elon Musk is here to save anybody?
No, he's the guy who wants to put fucking chips in everyone's brains. He's gonna
zombify
everybody.
Yeah, he's a weird one. I don't think he's here to help us. I don't know what the fuck. He's a weird one, man. He's so hard to read.
Bro, it's as easy. Like, there's entities that are trapped here and they're not allowed to leave. They walk the earth for hundreds of thousands of years. All right, that's according to the Bible. All right, so let's just pretend that exists. Where are those people located at? Do you think they're hanging drywall? You think they're committing felonies with you, Mike?
No.
Hey, Tom, do you think their kids are in your little kids program over there? Or are they in the largest, wealthiest areas in the entire world? Of course. That's where they're already there. They're already there. So it's like, you know, they've had hundreds of thousands of years to position themselves. So it's like pretty easy to kind of figure out, like, if you believe that, you know, where they're at. It's fucking simple.
It's always been very clear to me whether I thought they were, you know, like I said before, the reptoids or demons or fallen angels. Like, there's very clearly something operating against the greater good of humanity, whatever you want to label it or call it. And those who can't see it just honestly don't want to see it, because it flips their world upside down.
I tell you what, you guys, all right, so I got sober at like a really early age when I was 18. So alcoholism runs in my family. I'm from, my Irish ancestors are Irish rebel blood from Inishbofin, little Ireland off the coast of the mainland. Our family owns the only hotel on that island. So like, I will tell you that I waited 25 years of sobriety before I tried DMT. And DMT, they tell you it's like a hallucinogen. Dude, it's not. It's like you take a nail and put it in between two magnets, and what the nail does is it finds its like center point in between the two, and what it does is it allows you into a different dimension, or at least a view into it where there's lots and lots of information. I think everybody should do mushrooms, like a heavy dose of mushrooms, at least one time in their life, And DMT, it should be mandatory. Everybody should do it. The world would be a better place if more people ate mushrooms.
I concur. I love mushrooms. Never done DMT. Always wanted to. I love hearing people explain it. I love hearing your explanation of it. Tom's explained it to me, his feeling of it. And it's something I absolutely want to do because everybody says the same things. Like you said, it's like a door into a different dimension. Did you see the elves that everybody talks about?
Yes, I did. And here, I'm going to give everybody like a little, this is what you do. I'm going to give you like a fucking cheat code. So April 8th is coming up, the big eclipse, right? If you're not out of your mind on mushrooms or DMT right around that time, you have really fucked up big time.
Interesting. Why do you say that?
Well, I mean, it's what the Indians did. You know, it's like when people like look at the Indians like
peyote.
What was that? What was that movie? What was that movie with Mel Gibson where they're pretty much running through the jungle the entire time?
The Patriot?
No, the jungle. No. Indian
Apocalypto.
Movie. Apocalypto. So what it is you've got these people that have these amazing pyramids, so advanced with the stars, and then they're up on the pyramids doing like human sacrifice. And you're like, wow, they're fucking savages. Which, you know, I mean, you put me next door to somebody that's murdering children, I'm probably going to take up arms and be angry with them. And I know like this new generation might not want to hear that, but you know, when 911 doesn't exist and your neighbor's killing kids, I'm probably going to kill it. I mean, I'm just saying, you know, my point of view, you know, I'm pretty sensitive with kids. And it's like, well, what the fuck? How are these guys that are so brilliant in one aspect so savage in a different like component? And it's, dude, it's fucking black magic, dude. Like anything with the stars, you should absolutely, whenever there's something big, you should be eating mushrooms or doing DMT right around that time. And the information you get, like when I did DMT 25 years ago, when I was 25 years sober, it gave me two pieces of information. One of which was do an MMA history podcast, and literally Chris Lato called me within like 3 days, pitching it to me. Yeah. So I don't know. Like I went to Serpent Mount in Ohio. You guys listen to Rogan, obviously. You've heard like those, you know, you've heard like the podcasts that he's done on that. I think he's done a few of them on it. And I, middle of the night, snuck in there with my buddy Dale Bennett from Green Bay, Wisconsin. He blasted me off with DMT, and I met the on Serpent. Yeah, fucking right, dude. Under a full moon.
Oh my
Under
God.
a full moon. And dude, I'll tell you what, I met the snake, and it put eggs in my chest.
Wow.
It put eggs in my chest, and it told me, let it incubate, let them heal, their gifts, or let them hatch on their own, their gifts. But if you come back here, motherfuckers will take it. Just so you know that. So I haven't been back since then.
Wow.
What did it look like? Did it look like the feathered serpent?
It was like a black and white female snake with eyelashes wrapped itself around me. It was fucking beautiful, dude. It was incredible. I also went to Cahokia, where the mud mounds are.
Uh-huh.
And I blasted off there, but like I couldn't. I had like a malfunction in the device, and I couldn't get there. But I was like on that precipice of going there. That shit was fucking scary. Yeah, I highly suggest go to these Indian mounds, these sacred lands, and go and blast off. Like if you're gonna have that experience, don't be a pussy. Do it.
Great advice.
Yeah.
I was gonna say when I was in Ireland. Didn't have the psychedelic help, just a little bit of a THC pin at a point. But when I was visiting some of those sites, the energy there was insane. So I can't imagine if I would have blasted off or something there, what I would have seen.
Yeah, Mike, if you're gonna do it, the thing is, it doesn't give you what you want. It'll never give you what you want. It gives you what you need, and that's a lot different than what you want sometimes.
I want to do it. I desperately want to do it. But I want to have someone like Tom or someone with me while I do it. I just don't want to be at home with my wife and kids. No. I know I'd be fine, but I just would rather, you know.
Are you local? Are you a local guy?
Yeah, I'm in Plano, Illinois.
Okay.
Not too far.
Okay.
Like Naperville. I'm close to Naperville.
No, I know where you're at.
But yeah,
Are you still around the area?
Yeah, dude. I'm on the south side. I'm a fucking Southside scumbag, dude. Southside Irish scumbag. Always will be. That'll never leave me. I'm hoping to leave for Tampa in a few years as my daughter graduates. But, it's like we're South. I mean, Tom, I know you're a Southside guy as well. 100%. It's like it doesn't leave you,
No way. With BKFC, I know you used to do a lot of the MMA promoting around here. What do you do for the Bare Knuckle right now?
All right, so I still do promotions. Ignite Fights is mine and Jeremy Bjornberg's organization. I started with Cutthroat MMA, sold that business to a guy named Viet Nguyen. He just got out of prison. He did like 8 years in jail for like embezzling and all types of like really shitty money crimes. Got me for like 6 figures. It was kind of a wash. Usually like when you sell a business, you make money on it, but what he got me for was like kind of a wash. But like I got 8 years of his life.
Damn.
Started a new company, United Combat League, and sold that to B2, a publicly traded company. They just went under about about a year ago, and I had a non-compete after I left there. So I work with Ignite Fights. I mean, it's not like that it's in effect anymore, but Ignite Fights is Jeremy Bjornberg. He's the secondary matchmaker for the LFA, and I work for BKFC doing marketing for them. I got some pretty good kills with sponsors as well, and I travel with them, do the day-to-day I help with the operations day of with shows, street team, anything marketing wise with BKFC is I got my hand in it somewhere.
Badass. They are definitely on the rise.
Dude, man, we haven't got our funding yet, and I think it's right around the corner. At our last event in Miami, not this last month, the one prior, we had like a group from South Africa there, a group from Korea, Saki Kibara, the guy from Pride, the guy that fucking started Pride. He was there. Lubo Gedjev, a guy I used to work for Bodog Fight way back in the day. And I brought him on board. He's got an event this weekend. I think their pre-sale right now is about 6,000 tickets. They'll probably hit 7,500 come fight time, which that's 7,500 people. That's a friggin' big event.
I think it's funny how things come full circle, and we're going all the way back to the old days of boxing with the bare knuckle and this thing I'm trying to do with the Irish collar and elbow and the catch wrestling. Things always recirculating like that. And you touched on Pride there. I know we were talking about getting into some Yakuza and Japanese and Dutch MMA scene and stuff, and you being the insider and deep diver that you are, where do we start with that? With just some of the corruption and conspiracy within MMA.
All right, so if I can give you guys advice on a podcast and like learn from my mistakes, I'm obsessed with the Dutch scene. So like, imagine you guys got like a coffee house on Western Avenue. All right, even we'll go Blue Island, we'll go Old Western Avenue, and then like you go, man, I could probably sell cocaine here. It's illegal, but I kind of know everybody. So then like you put a bodyguard on the street and you start selling cocaine out of there, and the government and the police are too afraid to shut you down. And then all of a sudden, after a while, they go, all right, well, we can't stop this. We might as well accept it, pass some laws, and kind of, let other people sell cocaine and marijuana. It started with marijuana, but I use cocaine as an example because marijuana is legal today here in the Chicagoland area. And that was the Dutch scene. So like the Dutch scene, what I do is I get like these Dutch mixed martial artists on, bring them along, get them feeling good. Holy fuck, this guy did research. And then I start dropping like mafia guys' names. And then they go, yeah, I really did know him. And then I'll bring up like a particular incident that happened at the gym while they were there. Whether a guy got blew up in a fucking car or they were like taking arms off of another guy in the back. And it's just like, even today, they're like, no, I don't know. I don't know anything about that. It's fucking crazy. Like when most of the people from the Dutch scene are dead already that were involved with that. So Dirty Bob Schreiber, who is the absolute filthiest mixed martial artist, I watch any of his fights. There'll be several fouls, and like when you'll see him like on videos of YouTube coming out of the dressing room, his eyes are like headlights, so he just did a line of something. And this is a guy that like no call no showed a few fights in the early part of his career because he got in street fights on the way to his mixed martial art bout. So like he was like the head bouncer at Bulldog Hash House, and all of his friends are dead and he's still alive. Like Gerard Gordeau, he's in hiding. Dude, it took me 2 years to find Gerard Gordeau. Gerard Gordeau, but let's say I can go on tangents about these Dutch guys. The thing is, I've interviewed probably about 8 of them. I've gotten very little in regards to information other than, holy fuck, you know what you're talking about. No, I can't comment on that. But man, these are really good questions. Nope, I'm not going to answer that. Do you know how many Dutch people have stuck around and listened to my podcast? 2.
Damn.
Stay away from Dutch conspiracies is what I'm trying to tell you.
I would have never even thought that.
I didn't even know they had a mafia.
Yeah, like Gerard Gordeau goes to Japan. Well, one, he's the first UFC fight ever, against Taylor Tooley. And, what they don't tell you is at the pre-fight meeting and in between fights, he's smoking cigarettes. So, like, he's fucking smoking cigarettes at the fighter meeting, smoking cigarettes in between fights on the way to the ring, and he's like a money collector. So I got Gerard Gordeau's interview probably about 4 months ago. It took me 2 years, and I had to pay 3 really strange people that I did not think would ever return anything, and I actually got them. So in his second fight, Yuki Nakai,
he blinded him, right?
Blinded him. Bragged, yeah, I got to my second knuckle on my thumb inside his eye. But what they don't tell you is that Yuki Nakai used to, like, next time Gerard Gordeau went to Japan, Yuki Nakai was his chauffeur. And Yuki Nakai, if you look at Yuki Nakai's tattoos, he is 100% Yakuza. So in our interview with Gordeau, I said, okay, we got him rolling. He knows I know what I'm talking about. And he's in hiding. Like, he's actually in hiding right now. And I just said to him, I go, okay, well, was there any fallout from that? And there was just like a pause. Yes, there was. You want to open up on it? No. but later on in the interview, I had a feeling this was it. I said, at a pro wrestling match, one of the matches got real, and you were in the corner of the guy that was beating the shit, like in one of those Japan wrestlers, and you guys called out the head Japanese guy, the other pro wrestling guy, and he was so furious he came to the ring and you knocked him out. And he's just like, yeah, brother, I knocked him out, ran through the ring, I mapped it out, I got through a window in one of the hallways, and they fucking caught me right before I got to the airport. And he's just like, I was with them for a few days. Like, he got tortured. He 100% got tortured. Yeah. I think that was his penance for blinding Yuki Nakai. So, like, in like the interviews that I do, I try to give him the question. I think I know the answer. I'm not sure. I think I know the answer. I'd wait for him to finish, get him comfortable again, and then kind of hit him with the incident where I think the outcome may have been, and kind of let my listener piece the things together. So, yeah, it's good. It's good shit, dude. So Japan versus, like, the Dutch, everybody talks about, like, the Japan mafia. Like, they kidnapped Fedor's manager. Like the fake fights we started with Mark Coleman talking about, getting paid to drop a fight. Obviously, they happened. Like, Ensign Inoue, he'd be a really good guest for you guys. He's got Yakuza tattoos on him. Talks about, here's my contract. It says we don't test for steroids. And as crazy as the Japan scene may have been, the Dutch scene is less documented, but so much crazier. Like, it's unbelievable just how batshit crazy that Dutch scene was. Just like car bombings and disembodiments, and like the owner of Golden Glory Gym was operating the Glory Kickboxing K1 and his gym for the last 2 years of his life from his prison cell. Talk about these kids, that's a different generation. So I try to capture that stuff. Like, I try to grab that stuff, like you guys do with the Conspiracy and Chill. You get somebody that's quasi-famous, you know, whether it's mixed martial artists or, you know, some of the other conspiracy theorists that you guys have on, and you guys just chill out, get to know them, and then hit their conspiracy. It's just, you know, it's a different angle. You know, it's a good angle.
Well, thank you. Even though we've kind of been going off on some general conspiracies right now, this is where we're going to hit you with some. Go ahead, Mike. Give them some of our classics.
Well, let's start with an easy one. Are you a flat earther? Do you believe the earth is flat?
All right. So you're talking about like the Hibbler documentary, because all the other documentaries are bullshit. Like you got to watch Hibbler, right? We can agree on that?
Right.
I've watched them.
So if you watch the Hibbler documentary, he doesn't necessarily prove that the earth is flat. He proves that one, NASA's full of shit and they're like lying. But two, maybe the earth isn't flat, but it's about 8 times bigger than what NASA's numbers are. So am I a flat earther per se? Like if you give me flat earther or round earther, I'm definitely going flat earth, like without question. But my belief is that like there's an ice wall, there's something over there that we're not being allowed, like General Flynn. I think General Flynn was telling the truth. You can see those videos on YouTube still. I think the earth is not the shape that we're being told it is. And I believe in a firmament. I don't believe in a Van Allen belt. I believe in a firmament. Yes.
I think I'm right there with you. How about any paranormal or unexplainable things you've had?
Yeah. Like here, I don't believe in UFOs. I think those are, I believe in different dimensions, but I don't believe in UFOs. I think like UFOs are like
demons,
kind of like government.
Huh.
It's like our fucking government plotting against us. Like this, what's that Elon Musk fucking satellite system?
Starlink,
you know, that they're flying over.
Yeah.
Yeah. You mean the big projection system that, you know, uses our fucking
blue beam
government weapons against its own people? You know, when that shit goes, I mean, that's how fucked up I am in my head. But yeah, when I was little, my brother and I, we had an encounter with maybe an angel, an entity from a different dimension. Yes, we talked. It was one of the most loving, beautiful women, and my brother and I still talk about it today. Yes. So yes, to answer your question, yes.
Wow, you're gonna have to elaborate on that story.
And it's just, she came in the middle of the night, dude, talked. She gave him more attention than me. I was really jealous about it. And, you know, gave us love, and then disappeared, dude. Yeah. But my brother and I, like, no, dude, he and I will not come off of that not being real. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the fact that it's a shared experience, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. Unless you were smoking DMT at a super young age.
Yeah. Stuffing those Oreo cookies.
Right.
Yeah.
This is one of my not pet peeves, but one of my kind of personal favorites is I go down rabbit holes constantly. It's not like a crazy one, but JFK. Obviously, you probably don't think Oswald was the lone gunman, but do you have any theories, or have you ever looked into that?
I mean, I think our government did it. You know how they did it? Maybe the driver turned around and blew his fucking head off. I don't know. You know, I know. I tell you what, I know George Bush was involved.
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah, he was head of fucking. He was head of security. Yeah, not only was he there, like he was also the vice president. When can you imagine, like, you two working with each other, and then Tom puts a hit out on you, Mike, and then it's like you still got to go to work the next day, and you know, man, fucking Tom had that car shot up with me in it. What the fuck? I mean, that's essentially what happened with Reagan and Bush.
That is wild. And then a unique one that we haven't been able to ask our guests yet. So with your time in law enforcement and, you know, working around some crazy situations, are there any that stand out that you could speak on, with which just sound unbelievable or just crazy conspiracies surrounding that line of work?
Well, yeah, I met at least maybe 4, possibly 5. I don't know. I know it's definitely more than 3, 4, or 5 people that took sleep medication, and I had to explain to them, you know, when, like, the next day, that they murdered their significant other.
Sure. Whoa.
And they would be like, wait a minute, you know, so-and-so, I killed them? And they'd be like, I took whatever prescribed medication from the doctor to help them sleep, and that's all they remembered. Yeah, dude, yeah. And then, like, there was another time, I think it was like my first 2 weeks working there, where was in 2005. A kid in Naperville went to prom downtown with his, all of his buddies, and came to me confused. I was in the medical area, and he's like, man, these people, and he was like, he was like maybe a Latino kid, but he was like not a lot of miles on him, like somebody that's kind of like really green with life. And he's like, officer, I gotta talk to you. And at that point, you're just like, you're doing like the shut the fuck up, go back on the tier, because it's like an open tier game. And he was like, no, they're telling me that I killed my friends. What happened? And it was just like, yeah, bro, everyone in the car with you died except you. And it was just like, you see people just like, you see that rock bottom, and you don't ever forget that. Like, either one thing I learned is it's okay to deliver bad news. In fact, I almost prefer to be the person to deliver bad news, because you got to do it to where you allow the human being receiving it to have their dignity, to have their dignity, and, close the door, give them privacy, but they got to know the truth. And it's better. Like I enjoyed isn't the right word, because I really like giving people bad news, like isn't, something that I feel comfortable saying, but I did like the fact that, like, if bad news was to be given, that I would do it in a way to where they at least, had a private room, they could cry, here's a phone, call somebody, but yeah, dude, here's a situation, Yeah, I learned a lot. I learned a lot from that.
Was he drinking and crashed the car, or did he
blackout drunk?
That's right.
Yeah, blackout drunk. Hit a tree. Yeah.
Something that I want to ask you too, kind of staying in that same realm. My mom, she is a nurse and would work a lot at night, and she swears that she can always tell there's a full moon because of the people that come in. She says there's something about a full moon that brings out crazy people. Like she says like strange cases come in, and she'll always know, bet you it's a full moon, and she'll go out there and be like, yep. So I was just wondering if maybe there was an uptick of crazies.
Yeah, and it's like, how like nobody gets punished anymore. So like my last year there, I was at the jail, for the overwhelming majority of my career, and I really liked working there. Like I was a gang crimes guy. I was on TV for like 3 years on MSNBC, a show called The Squeeze. I speak fluent Spanish, and my caseload was always very unique, so I was one of the officers featured on it. And I remember like the last week there, I got a frequent flyer coming in, and he's just like, I'm like, hey, what's up, dude? And he's like, man, he said something like really like left of center. And I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, did you have a bad day at court? And he's just like, man, it's like a $500 bond. And I'm like, man, that ain't bad. He's like, man, fuck out of here. He's like, this is what's going to happen. This is my third gun offense. My people are going to come up here, pay $500. They're going to keep that shit, and they're going to walk me the fuck back in here. And he was like, oh, fucking mad. So I see the guy like 2 weeks later, and I'm like, hey, dude, what's going on? I go, you going to pay that bond? Man, God, man, I ain't going to bite on that. I can't bite on this. I know it's a fucking trick. It's a fucking trick. And then I remember seeing him like a couple of days later, and he's like, man, I'm going to give it a shot. Fuck it, man. My cousin just got his taxes back. He's going to throw $500 at this. We're just going to see if it works. And I remember like when he got out, he's just like, I can't believe they're letting me out of here. That's so like when people talk about like criminal justice reform, talk to the people that are getting left out like on a personal manner, and they'll be like, yeah, dude, this ain't right. This ain't right. Like, the people from the suburbs screaming about like police reform, 100%, I agree with them. But to remove police from like the bad areas, the people making that decision have never talked to a single human being ever from the areas that they're talking about, because the hardened gangbangers will be like, oh no, if the police go, this place is a civil war. Fuck no. Yeah, it's like calculated like self-destruction of society, man. It's what it seems to be.
Yeah, they want us to live in Escape from New York.
No, would they want us to fight with each other so we ignore what they got going on? That's what they want.
It works pretty well, man. It works.
Yeah.
Order through chaos.
Yeah. So, Mike, you never addressed what you got locked up for.
Oh, I didn't? I never talked about it?
Maybe it was the episode I didn't listen to, but I heard...
I've been, I've been locked up quite a few times, but I have 2 felony convictions. I was a heroin addict for 15 years. So,
no shit.
Yeah, I've been sober for over 10 now. And
did you go to the program?
No, I tried it, but you're talking about AA?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't for me.
Okay.
But
so you never had a sponsor or anything like that?
I did. I tried working them, and I did it, but it just wasn't for me. There were some rooms that I really liked. Some rooms that I went to, and there was others I didn't.
Okay.
I know the book well, though. I still have a copy of it, and I think it's a fucking valuable resource, dude. I think there's so much good information in there. It's just, I just don't think it was for me.
Oh, wait. Real side note.
Yeah.
Bill W., the guy that wrote the Alcoholics Anonymous book, are you aware that he was kicked out of AA?
I think I might have heard that, but I might be making that up, too. I don't know.
Do you know why he was kicked out of AA?
No.
Because he, that last step where it says, a spiritual enlightenment?
Mm-hmm.
He wanted it to say a psychedelic mushroom experience.
Really?
And he would not come off of it. And his argument was, I tried to kill myself in the woods, and I ate mushrooms, and this is what I came back with. All of the steps, all of the, just kind of the hierarchy of AA come from a mushroom trip.
That's amazing.
They threw him out. So what they did was they settled on spiritual enlightenment. But what he meant was work all of the steps, get through it. And I agree with them. Those steps, they're invaluable. Go through the steps and go through them with a set of fucking balls. You know what I mean? Go through them with a set of balls and really look at yourself. And then, dude, it took me 25 years. I had my mushroom experience.
Awesome.
Yeah, my mushroom DMT experience. Yep.
Dude, that's so good, dude.
So, all right, heroin addict.
Yeah.
Wait. So, Tom, this is the question with all heroin addicts that podcasters never ask. Who introduced you to it?
A buddy of mine.
Tell the truth.
A buddy of mine.
Okay.
But this was the thing, though. Is when I was growing up, I was anti-drug. I was very anti-drug. I thought even if you smoked weed, you were a fucking pussy. But I always said, all my idols always liked heroin. I always said, hey, if I ever had a chance, I would try this one drug. And putting that aside, many years later, it was a perfect confluence of events. I was with the girl I thought I'd be with for the rest of my life. We had broken up. My parents were in a different country. I had the house to myself. A buddy that lived the block over came over, and he was fucked up. And I'm like, dude, what's up? Give me some. What are you on? And he's like, no, I can't, because then I'll be sick tomorrow. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean you'll be sick tomorrow? I'll take you to get more. I didn't understand. And so he's like, okay. And then he, poured a half of a $10 bag out, and I snorted it, and boy, it was off to the races. Of course, I became an IV user, but
oh my god.
Oh yeah.
All right, so Tom, here's the thing. When I would get these heroin addicts at Cook County, I'd go through their pictures with them. We'd take a look through it through memory lane, all of their arrests, and they would always tell me what a good person they were. The heroin addict always would talk about what a good person they were. And then I would say, okay, well, what about the person that introduced you to it? How did they affect your life? And they would say, fucking horrible. What they did to me, they ruined my life. And then I'd go, okay, how many people did you introduce to it? And they would just look at me and they'd go, fuck, maybe I'm not a good guy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't want to ask that question.
Oh, I think about it all the time, man. I think about that ex-girlfriend I thought I was going to be with forever. She's dead. And, yeah, I introduced her. Yeah.
Dude, it's such a hard question. It's such a hard question, but you know what, man? If people don't talk about it, you can't learn from something you don't know about. To me, that's a conversation that everyone needs to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. And kind of going back real quick to the steps, like I apply a lot of them in my life daily. Like whenever I'm wrong, dude, fucking Tom could attest, when I'm wrong, dude, I admit it promptly. I promptly admit my mistake, dude. You have to. Like, that to me is the most valuable thing I got out of the entire program, is like, when I'm wrong, dude, which is fucking often, there's nothing wrong with saying I'm fucking wrong. I think there's more power in that than not addressing it. But ultimately, I was locked up in Cook County several times too. Thank God the longest stint there was only like 13 days. I was dope sick in Cook County. It sucked. Yeah, they give you a little pack of like fucking like the stuff, the little pill for your stomach, and then you shit yourself. But so what my charges were. The first one that I got charged with was simple possession of heroin, but I got 410 probation, which is like, it's expungable probation for first-time offenders. That was my first charge. Completed that, and then in 2014, I had a friend who set me up, and I ended up selling. They got me at a delivery because I sold heroin to an undercover cop 3 times. It was a girl cop. Yeah, I'm fucking dumb, dude. Like, I knew she was a cop. Like, I fucking knew it. I knew it, and I did it anyway, you know? And then the third time, so we were in a McDonald's parking lot right by where I used to live, and I sold it to her. I get back in my car, and all of a sudden there's this minivan cruising up in front of me, and then the door swings open, and then they fucking come running out, and they bump my car, and they're like, remember us, Strauss? DUMEG, which is the DuPage County Metropolitan Drug Task Force Unit. And then, yeah, dude, I fucking sat in county fighting the case for like over 9 months because my bond was $10,000, and they weren't budging, because that was like when everybody was dropping dead from heroin. So they weren't budging on me, and they wanted to give me 10 years, bro. Thank God I was able to get task probation for 3 years, and I finished it successfully. And so 2014, when I got locked up, I've been clean ever since then, and I've been off papers ever since 2017.
That's fucking awesome. Do you drink?
No, never was really a big drinker, dude. Like, I love drugs, you know. I smoke. I still smoke pot. I really don't consider that a drug.
No.
But yeah, I just smoke pot. I love mushrooms. I definitely enjoy mushrooms and psychedelics. But yeah, that's it, man. It's like, I don't even. It's weird, man. Like, I think it's like there's things now, like simple things, like. Just like simple things like going out late and being downtown, like not downtown like Chicago, but like downtown in my city, maybe, like just like walking around late at night. Like even that might scare me. And it's like I think of the things I used to fucking do. I don't mean like scared for my life, but just like, I don't know, like there's certain things now that I think that I did, and I'm like, how the fuck, dude? Like, dude, like crazy.
Yeah, you're
shit.
Normal.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
Tom, like the thing with addiction. Like that conversation that you just had, it's very rarely had other than behind closed doors, and it's an incredibly important one to have, especially like in a public forum. And like everyone's normal is so different when it comes to addiction. I remember driving home from like Chicago midday. I had a buddy from like Minnesota in my car with me. I had to pull off the highway because it was bumper to bumper. We're taking Halstead down. We're going through Englewood, and it's like 9:30 a.m. And we see this little kid, like 13, 14 years old, just dressing down a crackhead, just like reading him the riot act. And my buddy's just like, "Oh my God, look at that kid yelling at the crackhead! Ha 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 ha!" And I'm like, dude. That crackhead beat that kid out of his product, and that fucking kid had to pay the price for the crackhead, that did that. And it's just like, that's that child's normal. That's his normal. Like dealing with adults that are trying to fool him and trick him. And it's like, dude, addiction and everything surrounding it is... here, heroin. You said you're a heroin addict. You were shooting heroin. Mm-hmm. Did you know that like 15 years ago that they did a genetic testing in, I want to say about 24 different United States cities, and over 90% of it went traced back directly towards Afghanistan in regards to their poppy plants.
Really?
So, yeah. So here, so that means you got 2 options. either the Mexican cartel is so good at shipping and exporting that they can get a bag of heroin on a corner from Chicago, from Afghanistan and Mexico to Chicago, and then distribute it, and it's on every street corner for cheaper than a pack of cigarettes, or our government's behind the supply chain.
Mm-hmm.
We know which one.
I mean, it's like to pretend that you don't know the answer to that. To pretend. It takes probably a train car of heroin a weekend to feed Chicago's need.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no doubt.
It should be the most expensive shit in the world, and it's not. It's cheap.
It's funny, dude. What you said is so true, because I quit smoking for about 7 years, and I recently picked it back up because of... It's just an excuse. It's been a lot of stress, but ultimately it's just an excuse. But you're right. It literally, I'm paying about $12 for a pack of cigarettes now.
Yeah.
And my name is Sawbuck Mike. Sawbuck is slang for a $10 bag of heroin, or $10 bag of any drug for that matter. But in my case, it was heroin. But yeah, you could buy a $10 bag of heroin cheaper than you get for a bag of cigarettes. That is fucking nuts, dude.
So when Chapo got popped off, dude, I'm going to say the wrong last name. We'll call them the Hernandez brothers. I may or may not. I'm in the ballpark. Probably not accurate.
Ends in a Z.
They were, huh?
Ends in a Z. The name
was
ends
that
in
the
a
name?
Z. No,
yeah.
The name will end in a Z.
Yeah. So they're the ones that gave up Chapo. And if you read the court transcripts, it's essentially what happens is, well, we've been giving information to the United States government for 10 years. Blah 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 blah. I've been working with these agents. They're my handlers. And then they said, and they also make drop-offs with the heroin here in the United States for me to distribute. They pull the handlers on the stage. Every single thing that both those brothers said is absolutely true, with the exception that we give them heroin to distribute.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Maybe it's just a coincidence. I don't know.
I wonder if you can speak on this. There was a kid I trained for a little bit he was, we'll say, a very troubled youth, to say the least. And he was like in a foster care, and like, honestly, the guy that was like his guardian at the time was a super stand-up guy that was like working a case for him because he was under 18 and he was, like super criminal background, gangs, like bringing guns to school, dealing drugs, just literally like anything you could think of. Inner city crime kid he had done, but he wasn't facing time for it. And he was living with like his attorney or whoever, the guy who was like overseeing his case and like getting him out of trouble and stuff all the time. And he told me that his gang got a bunch of their weapons because they would just find crates of guns in the hood.
In the he was talking about the rail yards. That used to be the place to get them. Yeah.
I was like, who put them there? He's like, I don't know. We'd just find them. Like, there'd just be a bunch of guns and we'd be armed. I'm like, okay.
Or they'd have somebody. You would meet some like these low-end type people that were in charge of gangs, and you'd go through their. So here, like on my side, for instance. So you got to look at it kind of like MMA guys, where you're just constantly writing notes down. You're watching, like, you're talking to his training partners. You're writing all their notes down. And then when you finally see him, what you do is, hey, Tom, I've been trying to talk to you for a while. And they're just, just super quiet, standoffish. And then you walk away, you come back and you go, yeah, your dog's name is this. You drive that. You walk away, come back. Dude, when so-and-so got shot and killed, let me tell you something, man. And like, it'd be real sentiments. You go, that was fucking bullshit. That guy that got killed was one of the good guys. Somebody that I talked to and I liked. You walk away, you come back, and they're freaked the fuck out. They're like, how the fuck do you know this? And then you sit down, you talk to them, and what they want to do is fill in the gaps. They want to tell you more about themselves. Like it becomes kind of like they become enamored with you. And when you talk to some of the gangbangers that have got some miles on them, if they were born anywhere else in the city of Chicago, like any of these suburbs, they'd be running huge businesses, like just brilliant, calculated minds. And, it's far and few between, but like when you see it, you're like, holy fuck. Like, I'd want to work for that guy. You see it every once in a while. Yeah.
They just rose to the top of a different environment that they found themselves in.
It's just where they were born. That's what happened. It's where the fuck they were born.
So who do you think? You think the government was leaving some guns and stuff in the hood?
I mean, yeah.
It's not Santa Claus.
Well, here, do you think the lives of black youth in the inner city are a priority to help in regards to our government? Like, do you think it's one of their priorities, or do you think they're cool with what's happening?
I think definitely the latter.
Yeah. I mean, you got to remember, like, the areas that are troublesome today are the exact same areas troublesome 40 years ago. So nothing has changed, you know, and not only has nothing changed, like, there's no program there that's really helping the kids. Like, I can only speak on the south side of Chicago. Like, Leo High School is a Catholic high school in Englewood. It's over 90% of those kids that go there are on scholarship. The people that graduated from there constantly throw money at it because they're trying to make a difference in the neighborhood. Like, those are the people that give a fuck about the neighborhoods. Our government, they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about what happens there. Like, you know, shooting happens at like a party where there's whites or Latinos and they're upwardly mobile people or middle class. News everywhere. Oh, and like little this big. Oh, 6 kids got killed in Englewood too. It's sad. Like, it's so sad. And like, the one statistic, and please bring this up in future podcasts when talking about violence anywhere, like in the United States. So, like, let's just say 100 people got shot. If you got to do the math, between 10 and 20% die. So if 100 get shot, between 10 and 20 die. But what they don't tell you is 70% of the people that fired a weapon missed. So you're looking at 900 shootings, 800 shootings to get 100 shot to get, 10 to 20 dead. Like, think about that.
Yeah, I never really considered that. How much stray bullets are flying.
Yeah. What do you do? Everything. I mean, dude, I'm an okay shot. And I'm fucking trained. I can't even imagine, what the fuck is happening there with them shooting on the side. Their miss ratio far outweighs their hit ratio.
Literal war zone, though. Chicago is crazy how one neighborhood is hipster. People are mad that you fucked up their coffee or something like that. And then a couple blocks over, there's people dying daily. Yeah.
Anyway, it's like you try to keep that into account. Like, when you're dealing, I always ask, oh, where are you from? Oh, what area? It's like, I always know what gang set. And then it's just like, okay, this kid's normal growing up was a lot different than mine. And you just try to kind of catalog that. I'm not saying, give them more than what they're supposed to. Just, be mindful of it. You got somebody that's, probably got some fucking PTSD growing up,
100%.
So, yeah. So, since you guys started this podcast, what's your favorite conspiracies that you've, never really thought about?
Some that I never really thought would come up as much is, have you ever heard of the Tuatha De Danann? That's like an Irish mythological race. And
yes.
That's very niche.
It's like the gnomes.
Yeah,
it's like the gnomes.
They're like
right?
fairy people, and like there's some that are like big and tall and shining, and some are little gnome-like and elf-like. But that's something I thought was very niche, but we've had quite a few guests bring that up in totally unrelated, from what I thought unrelated, but that's come up a lot, so I really like that.
What about you, Mike?
I'm a huge moon denier. I don't think that we landed on the moon ever. And
Mike, you're really putting your neck out there. Like, that's
a crazy one, right?
An app on our phone has got more technical advantages than a fucking spaceship that went to the moon.
Let me think. What are some of the crazier ones that I believe?
The Nephilim comes up a lot too now.
Yeah, Nephilim comes up a ton.
You'd be foolish not to think the Nephilim existed.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I believe, I don't know, man, I believe in it all, basically. I don't believe we live on a flat earth, but fuck it, everything else I'm in, dude. I hold a special place in my heart for aliens and UFOs.
Mike, are you married to the globe?
No, not at all. Absolutely not. I'm totally open.
Say, Tom, you got to get rid of this guy.
No, I don't. Thing is, I don't know what we live on. I guess I'm agnostic. Or
dude, this might be a simulation.
Right. Exactly. I'm open to anything. I could be convinced anyway.
Dude, another cheat code that I do. whenever like I need something, whenever I want something, at some point I see somebody walking down the street, a homeless person, I always give them shit. Fuck it, dude. Here, here's my change. Here's this, here's that. I don't know how this fucking karma game works out, but I know me keeping this, and I don't need it. That doesn't help me. You know, here you go, dude. Here you go. All right. Some of the ones, all right. So the other day I had a mushroom before I went to bed. Wife was telling me I was being a dick. I was being an asshole. So whenever that happens, I have a micro. And so I ate it before I went to bed. And I woke up, and the first thing out of my mouth was, the clapper was the first thing introduced to our houses that was recording us for the government.
Wow.
I remember you messaging me that too, and that is a like very early version of it. Yeah,
I should copyright that fucking conspiracy, right?
That should be your T-shirt.
That's the name of a book.
Yeah,
dude.
You should write a whole book on it.
What's a microdose for you? Because Tom's mic. Okay.
Yeah, 0.5. And Mike, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I'm very, very good with understanding plant life. So whatever it is you think that you can do, I'd like to like compare dick sizes in regards to that.
I only microdose like 0.3.
I'm talking about the horticulture side.
Oh, I don't know much about anything.
For some reason, I'm good at it. I have no idea why. I listen to the fucking mushrooms.
No, that's valuable because when this place fucking burns to the ground and there's like various pockets of people, you could be the one to fucking be the one that helps bring plant life back. And
I don't know why. Like, I don't know why. Like, it's like I'm sober. I don't do heavy doses of anything, but I do a micro, which is like a half a gram, and it puts me in a good place. I'd say for about 10 to 14 days. And then, like, when I think I'm like kind of getting a little negative mindset or like a little bit of depression, I'll just do another half gram. So essentially, for people at home that really aren't experienced with this, it's like let's just say you're a drinker. I'm not. I haven't had a sip of alcohol since I was 18. But let's just say you're a drinker, and I were to give you a quarter glass of Miller Lite in a shot glass, like a quarter shot glass of Miller Lite. Could you go to the gym on that? Yes. Could you drive on it? Of course. Would you see tracers? No. That's what a microdose is. Your idea is not to get high, but to get like the mental and spiritual advantages from it without like departing the planet.
And you really do feel it. Well, when I say
you're in Plano, when's the next time you're on the south side of Chicago, bro?
Whatever. I could always. I could always arrange it to go over by Tom, and we could like do a podcast over there or something.
Dude, I got you.
Okay.
I got you.
I still have a bunch too.
You gotta be real careful how you store them too. Yeah, no, dude. I don't know. I think they're medicine. I can't wait till they're legal and people actually understand what they are. I think that there's a really bad misconception of what it is they do. And you know how they can help people, but for PTSD and shit like that, addiction, like if you do 5 to 8 grams of mushrooms, which is I don't recommend to anybody, it's a heroic dose.
No doubt.
It's like 87% of people with addiction issues, it gets reset. Like it's like here, this is what the fuck I did, dude. Oh, I shouldn't admit this. So on the south side of Chicago, when I get off at 127th, 57, there was beginning to be like a homeless fucking mecca there. And it's all white dudes from like clearly from the suburbs that just started using heroin and just started going down a bad path. Okay. And you know, you got the bubble hands, like it's just, dude, it's fucking straight heroin. So somebody, not me, extracted the psilocybin from the mushrooms and put them in gummies. And that same exit that I got off on said, hey, dude, have some of these THC fucking gummies, bro. They're not real strong. And what happens is that entire bag would get eaten and they would go to hell. But that part of their brain for addiction would get reset. And all of them eventually disappeared. All of them. One just came back like after like 2 years of being gone. I just saw him about 3 days ago. A lot of meat on his bones. So yeah, no, there's a couple people that I know that I'm not gonna say fuck with the homeless people that way, but when they see somebody that's battling with addiction, that's fucking begging for change in a shitty neighborhood in an area that they clearly don't belong in, yeah, they fucking hype them up with fucking psilocybin, dude.
Man,
Dude.
That's doing way more than our government's ever done for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not me.
Whoever thought of that is fucking brilliant, dude.
That is great.
That's great.
Man, love it. And as we're kind of winding this down here, I wanted to say, fuck, I feel like I got detective skills now, just taking some from you. And that's why you are the MMA detective.
Dude, check out my podcast. I'm telling you, like, if you guys like little books, like you guys like stories, like, and you guys like audiobooks, every single episode I do, there's so much research and moving parts in it. Like, I'll have like 3 or 4 different sets of questions depending on like where I can get them, and I catalog everything. Like, I've got like a file system in my phone to where like I know what avenues they're going to go down. It's pretty, dude. It's pretty fucking intense. Like I said, about 30-35% of my guests end up crying at some point during the episode. Yeah. No, but it's because I care. You know, like, you guys give a shit. I see the research that you. What do you guys? How many hours of research do you guys put in?
Depends on some of the guests. Some of the guests I've been super familiar with, or maybe Mike is the one who got them and he knows a lot more about them. But definitely not as extensive as a detective like you.
Yeah, I would say like 5, 6, not including like editing or anything like that, just research for a show. I would say between like 4 and 6 hours, depending on who.
But that's why you guys are going to be around. Like, that's why you guys are going to be successful, because you actually do the work. Like, 95% of these interview shows is, all right, let me just read their Wikipedia to them. So like in real time, we're listening to them do the research in front of the guest. And it's the lamest shit. Dude, there's nothing positive that comes from that. All you're doing is confirming some online bullshit that's kind of like vanilla anyway. And you guys do the work. You do the work. And like, you guys also made the adjustments. Like, but you guys have got like a real good nuance of when to talk. You very rarely talk over each other. That's incredibly difficult because you're not in the same room. Like, you guys can't feel that. And you guys just kind of like look at each other and you communicate that way. You guys are going to be around. No, for sure. Like, when I first heard your podcast, it was like, I think it was Josh Barnett. And you guys had some basic things that needed to be changed in it. And I said, Tom, here, man, dude, you guys got a really good concept. You know, here are certain kind of things that you guys got to alter, and you guys make changes right away. I mean,
appreciate the insight.
No, it's fucking good shit, dude. It's good shit.
Well, I think the listeners are gonna like this one too. I loved it.
I say it every fucking episode. This was great, but it really was. This was awesome.
Yeah, it's good shit. Well, here we talked about addiction. Neither of us lied. You know, like we everybody told the truth here. Like Mike, what you talked about with heroin. Oh, more people need to hear that, dude.
Yeah, I'm so open about it, dude. It's like I wish I could share it with more people, you know.
Well,
but
what division were you in?
I don't remember, so I could tell you what it was. I was in an area that had 3 rows. It was Finballs, Neutrons, One Love, and it was a dorm setting. That's how they explained it to me.
Was it dorm setting? Did it look like an overly long trailer park? It
wasn't real open. It was more narrow and long, and there was one bathroom in the front.
How many floors?
It was
how
just
many floors?
One big. It was one floor.
You were an RTU.
Okay.
Yeah, you're an RTU. Yeah, I think it was supposed to be around for 10 years, and they kept it for like 30. Yeah, wow. It's a piece of shit. Super fucking hot in the summer, super cold in the winter.
Mm-hmm. You had the shitty windows that like never really closed. You know that like, with the metal on it. Yeah, being woken up.
Refracted heat. Yeah, refracted heat. Yeah.
4 o'clock in the morning, getting like deliveries, waking you up. Yeah.
So I started there. That's exactly where I started.
Shit, I wonder.
It'd be funny if you guys crossed paths.
Yeah, maybe.
I guarantee we did.
Yeah,
guarantee we did.
This would have been maybe like 2005.
That's where I started. June 13th, 2005 is when I started. And then I got out of the academy, I think October is when I was there.
Okay. Yeah, that's like right, because my wife was 9 months pregnant with my first daughter, and she came to bond me out, and she was 9 months pregnant, and my daughter was born November 23rd. So, dude, it was like right there. We had
and October.
Yeah.
And dude, what about the visiting area? How fucking humiliating is it to go and have to yell at someone through a fucking 2-inch thick piece of glass?
Dude, it's the only one that would come see me ever in any place that I was ever locked up was my wife. No one else. My mom wouldn't do it. She said she couldn't. My aunt couldn't do it. Like, and I didn't want my kids.
Can you blame them?
Like, no, absolutely not. I don't blame them at all. You know.
You know, Mike. I tell you the one thing that I also learned. Like, my first wife died, and she was like going to small villages in Mexico and killing mosquitoes to stop the spread of disease with dengue, and dengue is eventually what got her. The one thing that like I learned from that was like she was so much better to me than I was to her, especially like at my lowest, like what you're talking about. And when I remarried, like I do not cheat on my wife. I do not. And it's like, you know, the one regret I have is just like, you know, I can't get that back. Like I can't be better to her than she was to me. And like when you were locked up and she's fucking pregnant and she's standing by you, dude, you can't discount that, man. Like it's you can't you can't, dude.
She's the best, dude. She's we first met when I was 16 and she was 14. We dated for a little bit, but you know how it is when you're young like that. It wasn't anything serious, but we always were kind of like around each other, ancillary, like we knew people know of each other, and then we just fucking got back together. But she has always loved me. Like she'll tell you, like she's, you know, so it's like she's the one person I've ever been with, and we've been married for a while now. But she's the one person I never have any worries. Like I never have to think or worry about anything. And dude, being locked up and seeing those guys, dude, that have to worry about, it's like, oh my God, dude, it's terrible.
Okay. So I'm on the road for BKFC a lot. And like, you know, I got kids, bro. Like I only make girls. The only thing I got is girls, but I know my old lady, she's handling her business at home. Even if her and I are button heads, I know at home it's a solid foundation. And then I see the guys on the road, because it's like, it's every other weekend we're on the road. And like, I see the guys that just don't have that stability. And it's just like, fuck, dude. Like they're wrecked emotionally, physically, you know, quick to be angry. It's like you got to have your home life. That's got to be your peace, your place of peace. And then, you know, go fight your battles outside of home. You know, you shouldn't be fighting those inside. And if you are, you got to look at yourself, man. You know, how much of that is you and how much of that is her? And what can you do to make her stop? Because, you know, I don't know. I try to make my home life as fucking peaceful as possible, man.
You got to.
And not to speak for anyone else, but maybe in some cases you just have a thing for bipolar crazy girls. I don't know. I don't know anyone like that, though.
Is that you, Tom? Are you married, dude, or what?
No, I'm not. But that's been my trend.
Are you dating? Are you dating anyone?
I am.
Are you here? Are you on any apps right now?
No.
Okay.
Those are no good. No good.
Yeah, those are fucked up, man. Well, anyway, guys, I appreciate this. Mike, when you're on the south side, I'd like to gift you something.
Yeah, I'd love to hang out, dude.
That'd be great.
We'd love to chill. Like I would say, go get a beer normally, but I mean, I would absolutely. We don't do that, so But I'd love. I'd love to kick it, like just do something. You know, that'd be cool.
Yeah, Tom, always a pleasure. And if you guys want to come out to an event, man, I think Ignite. I think we're actually going to be in one of the casinos in Indiana. We're supposed to be closing it in the next couple weeks. But if you guys see one of our events, just let me know. I'll make sure I got some tickets to set aside for you guys.
Awesome.
In BKFC as well. Any BKFC event you guys want to go to, let me know. I'll get your tickets. All right?
You're the man.
Awesome.
We'll definitely look to have you back on, and thank you for coming on. Thank you for being a supporter, bro.
Thanks, brother.
All right, guys.
The MMA detective.
Coolest guy.
Dude, yeah. He reminds you of like your typical Irish, Italian, Chicago. You know what I mean? Yeah, he was a good dude. I really liked him. I look forward to hanging out with him. And it's another one that I go into. I don't like saying that, like, oh, it's way better than I thought, because that sounds bad. But sometimes you go into them not knowing how it's going to go or where it's going to go, and it takes you to all those cool places. So, yeah, I'm happy. I think it was
Definitely.
good, dude.
And almost a little bit of intimidation with such a storied podcaster and deep diver himself, and like him giving us some constructive criticism and being a listener. It's like, oh shit, I knew it was going to be a good episode, but it's a little daunting than your regular guest when you know they bring a lot of knowledge even about our own show.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I like all of his advice. I think is good. Obviously, if someone wants to give us advice that's been doing this for a while, we're gonna take it. We're not fucking stupid. I'm not a globe head.
I've got a few ties to Mike as well. Like I don't know if I've competed in his organizations, but I've coached people on some of his shows for sure, and like set up fighters on his events. I used to do side work for a guy who is his best friend in like the South Side. Like I would do some random like demo and like grunt labor for some extra cash, and yeah, that was like his best friend, and we bullshit on the phone or whatever, or at the job site or something if the guy I was working for was talking to him. And now we got him podcast, and looking forward to hitting some bare knuckle fighting championship seats from him. That's pretty sick too.
Dude, I really like we've talked about it. We've had a couple of guys on from BKFC. I really like the sport. I think it really is like a harken back to how the UFC felt in the early 90s. That's like the vibe I get. But yeah, I would love to fucking go to a BKFC event, dude. That'd be sick.
It is like our podcast is a little bit mingled into some bare knuckle fighting. And fuck, dude, I'm not going to lie. There's a little bit of part in me that wants to fucking do a bare knuckle boxing fight. I've never done a purely striking fight.
Have you ever trained striking?
I'm more of a grappler. Oh yeah. Like I originally was MMA before I had hurt my eyes. Like I thought I was gonna be like fucking George St. Pierre. Like I was all in on the MMA. I had the one MMA fight in 2013, and I destroyed the guy right away, tapped him out. And,
I saw that, and you were a late replacement.
I couldn't do freaking striking for a while because I had a lot of eye injuries, but I still know it quite a bit. I've trained a lot of clients in striking, and I'm obviously much more of a grappler. Like if I was going to take an MMA fight, I'm going to use my strength. But there's always that little thing that you see with a lot of wrestlers, and they want to fucking stand and bang for some reason because they've grappled for so much and wrestled so much. The thrill of just throwing hands, as unintelligent as it may be, is a game plan. But something about the just raw brutality of fucking bare knuckle, like part of me does really want to do it. And it seems like there's some money in it.
You definitely should. And you're selling. Well, you're not really. You're not taking any credit for your MMA win because you were a late replacement for that fight, right?
For that one, no, I was planning to do it. It might be the first black belt match that I had, though. I was a late replacement.
Well, you were wearing goggles, and
the goggles one. That one, the grappling one. That one I took like on like a day.
Yeah, you took it on a day, and this guy was supposed to be like, they were like talking him up, like he was supposed to be something, and you went in and fucking mauled him, dude. It was like, it wasn't even a competition. It was crazy. And then you were saying a little bit earlier before that you recently are not another world champion, but is it a country champion? How do you?
It was over the weekend I got a USA Wrestling national title in folk style wrestling, and a few days before that I was promoted to my long overdue black belts. Mm-hmm. Like I never gave a shit about the belts or whatever, or had a home gym, but the gym I'm at now and teach at now, the instructor and friend of mine, Fabian, surprised me with the black belt, so that was pretty cool. So I'm stacking some credentials. I'm supposed to go to California, the tournament that Josh Barnett is having in May. So if there's anyone out there who wants to sponsor me and help me out with things, I don't know exactly how I'm going to pull that off, but it's going to happen, and I'm going to go. I'm actually going to be part of Team Great Britain Snake Pit, which is when I went to England to do the Catch Wrestling Worlds, and it was hosted, in England by the Snake Pit, which is the old school like catch wrestling lineage from way back then. They invited me to be part of their team that is doing they're getting like a free 5-day training camp with Josh Barnett ahead of time, like the 2 days out from that tournament. So I'm invited to be part of that. So I'm going to go get to train with Josh, like in a private setting for those days before, because I'm part of the team Snake Pit now. And yeah, that's going to be sweet.
Dude,
so anyone out there that wants to sponsor, let's go.
I got to find a way too to fucking fund that trip, dude.
So if there are any wealthy listeners out there that also seem to like MMA and wrestling, and you just really like me and Mike, and Conspiracy, you really like me and Mike, you want to help us get out there and document that and film it for some exclusive content, we are open for business.
Yeah, that would be dope.
Either way, it's gonna happen.
And if you aren't a super wealthy person that wants to gift us monies to make it across the country, there's other ways you can help too. We have a Patreon. You could do that. That helps out. It's Conspiracy and Chill on Patreon. And we also have a whatever platform you're listening to us on, there should be a little support icon. You could do that, and you could help the podcast out for as little as $3 a month, and that helps us helps us better this thing, become one of the first Conspiracy and Chill Syndicate members. If you don't want to do any of that, something you can do that doesn't cost you anything is just click a 5-star review for us, because those really do help. And we have noticed that people actually are doing it. So thank you guys, because that shit really helps. I don't know how, but it does. So thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate all our listeners, especially the ones that have been there with us from the beginning. Share the episodes, like the YouTube videos, whatever. Get this content out there if you're enjoying it. Message me and Mike. Let's bullshit and go back and forth in the DMs a little bit. Maybe you want to come on the show. Maybe you want to recommend something, or talk some shit to us. Tell us what we should do better.
Stay away from pedophiles.